and welcome. You're watching WION Wallet with me, Jessica Taneja. But first up, the headlines. Britain's Brexit bill clears first legislative hurdle, paving the way for the government to get Brexit negotiations underway. In India's budget yesterday, main focus was put on social and poverty-linked sectors. Income tax cut by 5% for those earning between 2.5 to 5 lakh rupees. India Inc. hails FM Jaitley's budget, appreciates Jaitley's move on political funding. A day after the budget presented by Indian Finance Minister, share markets have opened weak on profit booking. Starting with a top international business story today, Prime Minister Theresa May's plan to take Britain out of European Union has cleared its first legislative hurdle. Now, this will enable the UK government to launch exit talks by the end of March. May's government is seeking approval for a new law giving her the right to trigger Article 50 of the EU's Lisbon Treaty, which is the legal process for leaving the bloc. The UK Supreme Court had previously ruled that she could not take the decision unilaterally. The bill could complete the legislative process by March 7th. Theresa May wants to begin exit negotiations with the EU by March 31st. And this will begin 2 years of talks that will define Britain's economic and political future. This will also test the unity of EU's 27 remaining members.
The ayes to the right.
Now, the Chief Justice of EU has said that Britain's withdrawal from the European Union might end up for review in EU's top court. The Chief Justice stressed that the political process is still in early stages. He added that it's too early to tell what aspects of Brexit might be changed. However, the EU's top court has been insisting on changes to Brexit treaty in the European Union court and could ultimately amend any post-Brexit European Union and Britain's trade deal. The Chief Justice's comments have raised the possibility that Britain's divorce terms from the EU could ultimately be shaped by the European Union court. And the prospect of the court battles going on even after Brexit underlines the uncertainty surrounding the process. India's Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Wednesday presented a budget that will spur growth by increasing spending on rural areas and infrastructure. He has also given a relief for the middle class by halving the tax burden on those earning between 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh rupees. Jaitley also took major steps to double farmers' income.
Total expenditure of the budget 2017-18 has been placed at rupees 21,47,000 crores. With the abolition of the planned non-planned classification of expenditure, the focus is now on revenue and capital expenditure. I have stepped up the allocation of capital expenditure by 25.4% over the previous year. This will have a multiplier effect and lead to higher growth. When too many people evade taxes, the burden of their share falls on those who are honest and tax compliant. The farmers will also benefit from the 60-day interest waiver announced by the Honourable Prime Minister in respect of their loans from the cooperative credit structure. With a better monsoon, agriculture is expected to grow at 4.1% in the current year. Sowing farmers should feel secure against the natural calamities. The Fasal Bima Yojana launched by our government is a major step in that direction. The coverage of the scheme will be increased from 30% of the cropped area in 2016-17 to 40% in 2017-18 and 50% in 18-19.
Meanwhile, let's hear what Congress Party's Vice President Rahul Gandhi had to say post-budget yesterday.
On the fundamentals, the main issue facing India today is jobs and how India is going to solve the job problem. On that, absolutely nothing. No vision, no idea. So for farmers, absolutely nothing.
In the budget speech yesterday, the finance minister announced some changes on the personal tax front. Will these changes reduce the taxes I pay, or will it bring more people into the tax net, thereby reducing burden on honest taxpayers? Let's take a look at the story.
No tax is levied on income up to rupees 2.5 lakhs, so no changes there. The tax slabs of rupees 2.5 lakh and rupees 5 lakh have seen a reduction from 10% to 5%. This would bring an overall tax benefit of rupees 12,875 for individuals earning more than 5 lakh. Also, a surcharge of 10% has been levied on all individuals earning between 50 lakh and 1 crore rupees. According to the figures given in the budget speech, 1.95 lakh people pay taxes in the brackets of rupees 2.5 lakh and rupees 5 lakh. Will this tax base increase after the recent tax reduction? Will we become a more tax-compliant society? Vrinda Agarwal with Padma Rao, WION New Delhi.
Now, in the budget speech, there were certain incentives announced for startups.
The startup companies have now been given tax exemption in 3 out of 7 years against the earlier 3 out of 5 years. This means that out of 7 years, the startups can identify in which of the 3 years they would like to pay taxes. Also, there has been a demand of the startup industry to allow their losses to be carried forward even if the shareholding of the company changes. This is a long-term demand of the industry, as with new rounds of funding, the shareholding changes. But are these benefits mostly for the startups under the Startup India scheme? With Vrinda Agarwal, this is Jessica Taneja for WION.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley announced certain changes for the corporates as well. Some could lead to ease of doing business and some are just cosmetic changes.
There will be no tax in converting preference shares to equity shares. The industry had been demanding clarity on this law for a very long time, and this announcement will improve the ease of doing business in India. Income tax for small and medium enterprises with annual turnover of up to 50 crore rupees has been reduced to 25% from the current 30%, but there is no change in tax rate of other corporates. Again this year, the corporates have not received any major tax incentives from the government. Indeed, the minimum alternate tax credit will be allowed for 15 years, but it is at best a cosmetic change with not much impact on the companies. It seems that no serious step has been taken to improve the ease of doing business in India, and in that sense, corporates may be disappointed with Arun Jaitley's latest budget. With Vrinda Agarwal in Delhi, Sana Khan for WION.
Now, WION's chief business correspondent Sumit Chaturvedi caught up with few corporate bigwigs to know their reactions on yesterday's budget. Let's listen in.
So thanks for talking to us. First of all, what is your feedback or what's your assessment of today's budget? Has FM tried to touch every part of the sector and has tried to strike a balance between all sectors?
Yes, this budget covered a very, very wide canvas, all the way from things like rural economy, big growth on infrastructure spend, on education, on health, on women, on scheduled castes. It was a very wide canvas. Normally, budgets do cover many areas. He's done this very meaningfully in giving significant boosts either in funding or in policy to a large number of sectors. Two big game changers, of course. One is to clean up political funding. He's announced a new scheme, which I hope the Reserve Bank will approve, which seems very sensible. He's also brought, of course, the railway budget in, which is the first. And at the same time, massive jump in infrastructure spend of 25%. All of that while maintaining fiscal discipline within the band that was permitted to them, 3% plus minus 0.5.
So any points he should have touched and he did not touch, what would you recommend that he should have done that, something which really falls short of your expectations?
So industry has wanted two things. One, because of the current global slowdown in the economy, India's slowdown, and further impact of demonetization, which impacted all consumer-facing businesses and impacted all small businesses. Industry had asked for some excise reductions to give a temporary boost to allow consumption to go back. So private sector can use the capacity which exists and start reinvesting. Second was on corporate taxes. The recommendation was to reduce corporate taxes not just to 25%, which the government had already announced, but to now aim to bring it to 18% over a period of time while reducing and taking away exemptions. So while he's done this on personal tax, which is very good, he's also done it for small industries up to 50 crores, but above 50 crores, he has not touched the industry segment at all in terms of taxation.
So one last question, the step he has taken on political funding, will that go a long way in cleaning the whole political system, or is that merely a cosmetic, step he has taken?
Oh, I think it's a very big thing. In addition to this, if we can also look at state funding of elections as a combination of these on a twin track, I think this will help to clean up the system a lot.
So we think there were several useful things in the budget. First of all, and I think start with the big picture. I think keeping the fiscal deficit at 3.2% makes a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, that fundamental of actually having the fiscal deficit in control is the best way of building a foundation for long-term sustainable growth. Second, some useful measures. For example, having all companies with a turnover of less than 50 crores, reducing income tax on those companies to 25%, again something that's very welcome, because that again covers 96% of all companies. We would have liked to have seen it to be 100% of companies, but at least 96% of companies being covered by that move makes a lot of sense. And then the strong investment in rural infrastructure, in rural income generation, again something that is needed and necessary, and the road building and infrastructure program, again necessary. Then many useful things, getting rid of the Foreign Investment Promotion Board. Total sense, we hope it's the first of many. Right, we have many institutions that need to be scrapped that serve no purpose today. Talking about how we would address disputes, PPP disputes, through the Arbitration Act of 1996 makes sense. We have to see the detail of what's actually proposed. So there were many markers of useful things to come.
So in the light of demonetization or a kind of a cash shortage, do you think enough steps have been taken to put cash back into hand of people? Are you satisfied with that?
So we think that there were many measures to address incomes and cash availability at the lower end of the market. Probably not enough at the higher end.
Okay. And on railway budget, sir, are you satisfied? What all steps have been taken?
The setting up a safety fund makes a lot of sense, and it's a safety fund. It's a 100,000 crore safety fund that would be used over 5 years. Makes a lot of sense. And second, redeveloping over 25 stations, something that we've recommended from CII. Again, something that is very good to hear.
So one last thing: any sector he should have touched and he did not touch at all?
I'd have liked to have seen more done on the corporate tax side, and I'd have liked to have seen more done specifically on innovation and on investments in technology by both firms and higher education institutions. To set up a national innovation fund is something that we'd recommended. It's important to the country's future, and those are the two areas that I would have liked to have seen more focus.
Thank you so much.
But Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's budget had some misses as well. There were some sectors which were left and were not touched at all. Our Chief Business Correspondent Sumit Chaturvedi joins us for more on that. Sumit, which were the sectors which were not given anything in the budget?
Well, remember, Jessica, IT is a sector which is going through a very bad phase. They are facing uncertain times with Donald Trump coming in as new US president. There is policy uncertainty in US. So looking at that, there should have been something for the poster boy of Indian economy, which is IT sector. Nothing was given there, and that's what was, there was a complaint, by IT sector that something should have been given to them, because they are the ones who are bringing Forex, foreign exchange, and exporting a lot of software to foreign shores. And looking at the difficulties they are facing, they should have got something. So information technology was a sector which was not touched at all, though FM FM Jaitley tried to touch all sector, tried to present a very balanced budget, but he couldn't give everything to everyone. And there were IT sector people who were complaining that FM should have heard about them also, should have given something to them also, which was not given. Another sector which was not touched at all was power sector. Well, Piyush Goyal, Power Minister himself, was quite instrumental in making budget, but power sector was not given anything. Main reason for this was that power sector was given many a lot of things were in earlier budget also. Precisely that's why it was not touched in this budget. So clearly these were two sectors which were not touched majorly in the budget which took place yesterday. Going forward, we can some kind of we can make some kind of assumption that going forward there could be some one sector which was not again touched at all was auto sector. Remember, in the last few budgets they have given something or taken away something from auto sector. Maybe it's hiking of excise duty or cutting of excise duty, but this was this time even auto sector was left untouched. One important reason for this was that GST coming, and a lot of these sectors will be dealt with in the coming GST.
Right. Thank you for joining us, Sumita, Chief Business Correspondent from New Delhi. Well, right now, we'll take a short break. Do stay tuned to WION Wallet. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching WION Wallet. Now, a day after budget was announced by Indian Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, Indian markets have opened weak on profit booking. BSE Sensex opened lower by 37 points, while Nifty opened with a loss of around 17 points. Indian markets had made handsome gains yesterday, boosted by Indian Finance Minister Jaitley's announcements in the budget session. To discuss more, we are joined here by our market analyst Amit Gupta, CEO and founder of Trading Bells. Amit, how are the markets trading this morning? While we're having a problem with the audio, we'll again reconnect to Amit soon. But for the moment, Amit, I hope you can hear us.
Yes, Jessica, am I audible now?
Yes, you are, Amit. So as I was asking you that how are the markets trading this morning?
The markets have started cautiously, and there has been some profit booking seen early in the morning today. The markets did surge immediately after the budget. That's how they welcomed the budget. There was no negative news in the budget about the markets, what we were expecting in terms of long-term capital gains tax or the STT and the service tax. There are no negatives on those front. That's why the market has surged, and also the main point being the fiscal deficit. That's what our finance minister, Mr. Jaitley, has said. It will be kept under control at 3.2%. So these are all welcoming moves yesterday. That's why the market surged. But this morning we have seen some profit booking. Talking about the technicals, there is a strong bull run expected in the near term. The markets has closed above the 100-day moving average of around 8,500, and it is actually very, very strong right now. And looking at the technicals alone, there is another bull run expected from here. So any dips is just another buying opportunity, is what I believe.
Right. And, what is your outlook on the impact on Indian companies now?
So we have to talk about sectoral outlook. So there has been a boost to agricultural sector. More government spending has also been given on infrastructure like highways, railways, coastal roads. So this will pump in the liquidity in the market, which was very much required after the demonetization. And since infrastructure status has been given to affordable housing segment, it is going to lower the borrowing costs for housing loans. This is in line with the government's vision to create 1 crore houses by 2019. So there are certain sectors which are really looking very, very strong, such as the realty sector and the ancillary industries like cement, iron ore, metals, paints, etc. So these are the sectors where I see the budget will benefit the most. At the same time, banking has also increased because of the changes in the Negotiable Instruments Act, as well as the lowering, as well as the indications that the borrowing costs will be lowered. So this has given some boost to the banking sector yesterday, and it will continue in the near term, is what I believe. At the same time, reduction of corporate tax, that would benefit 96% of the Indian corporates having turnover of less than 50 crores. That will give a boost to SMEs, medium and SMEs, as well as startups. So this is a positive and welcome move. Although I believe more could have been done on the tax slabs. For individuals, the tax slab has been reduced. For the 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh slab, the rate has been reduced from 10% to 5%, but straight away after 5 lakhs, the rate is unchanged at 20%. So probably a gradual move from 5 to 20 would have been better, is my personal opinion.
And what is the outlook for markets, for the current week, especially in the post-union budget?
So the markets are looking very strong. There are some cues also coming from the international markets. The dollar had rallied to a 14-year high after President Donald Trump's election in November, but the US currency has taken a beating this year, so far falling nearly 3% in January, because as the investors have assessed the impact of Mr. Trump's protectionist and immigration policies. So the dollar is not trading very, very strong lately, and the rupee has gained quite a bit. This is making the Indian markets attractive in the international markets as well. There are some FDIs inflows expected. At the same time, abolishment of the FIPB after the budget will make the investments coming in from foreign investors easier and faster. So all these are cues that are suggesting a strong positive uptrend in the market in the near term. Also, the cues coming from the Asian markets. The Asian markets yesterday, they all closed up except the Hang Seng.
Right.
And this morning probably trading a bit lower, but I believe the market is showing a strong uptrend from here.
Right. Thank you for that analysis, Amit, for the moment. But we'll move on to another story. Now, today, a special court is to pronounce its orders on framing charges against former telecom minister Dayanidhi Maran and others in the Aircel Maxis case. The case was lodged against the former telecom minister by the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate. The orders have been postponed before in December last year, when the special judge O.P. Saini deferred the orders, saying the order was yet to be prepared. Now, Dayanidhi is accused of pressurizing Chennai-based telecom promoter Sri Srivasankar to sell his stakes in Aircel to Malaysian firm Maxis Group in 2006. Now, all the accused have, however, been denied the allegations against them made by the investigation agencies and moved bail pleas. The order, which is scheduled to pass today, will decide the charges framed as well as on bail applications of the Maran brothers and others accused persons. Well, that's all we have for you on WION Wallet today, but do stay tuned for more updates here on WION. Keep watching.